It's a good old-fashioned Big 12 showdown. UCF at Cincinnati. What are the keys to the game for the Knights?
You are Locked On UCF, your daily podcast on the UCF Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on in to Locked On UCF, your daily UCF podcast. I'm your host, Mike G. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of every single day. Turn us up, turn us on, we'll turn it out. I'm here with my good friend, James Duncan, UCF sports commentator, to talk a little UCF football. Cincinnati is almost here, James. On today's show, we're going to talk about our three keys to the game. Then we want to talk about Alex Grinch's defensive strategy in this one. Trying to slow down Brendan Sorsby is going to be a challenge for the Knights. Then, as always, we're going to make our predictions on the game. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. We appreciate them always for being a title sponsor here. Let's start at the top. UCF has got to do a lot of things well if they expect to win on Saturday. Cincinnati is a good team. They stand 4-1, 2-0 in the Big 12, and all their goals are plainly in front of them right now. And they have arguably one of the top three quarterbacks in the Big 12 this year here in Sorsby. And UCF is going to have to slow them down if they expect to have any chance in this one. 12 touchdowns to 1 interception is he so far this year. I'm going to get us kicked off here with my key to the game. It is going to be slowing down Sorsby. There's not a world where he has a great game at home and UCF comes out with the win. I think that they're going to have to find a way to turn him over. He hasn't been turning the ball over a lot. Alex Grinch's defense is going to have to dig deep, get pressure on him, and try to force him into mistakes in this one if they expect to win, James.
Yeah, no, I think that kind of goes along with my first key to the game, which is keep the defense fresh. You got to keep the defense off the field as much as possible. This defense has done really well this year when they are not having to be on the field the entire game. You watch them shut out Kansas shut down Kansas their first couple drives. You watch them shut down Kansas State their first couple drives. This defense is really talented. They are going to have to get to the quarterback. Obviously, you mentioned Sorsby turned the ball over one time and scored 12 touchdowns. That is not a favorable ratio when you're looking at it from the UCF side. But you got to force a turnover. You got one against Kansas State. I think you might have gotten a fumble against Kansas. But you really need something to go your way in this game in terms of the turnover margin. So yeah, keep your defense fresh. I know we're a little, light on depth with Horace Lockett being out for the year and Rodney Laura being questionable. There goes your backup defensive tackles. You just got to keep the defense off the field as much as possible, especially with those ones now probably taking even more reps than they were before.
Yeah, look, sometimes the best defense is a good offense. And if you can sustain drives, as you mentioned, and keep your defense off the field, but also keep their offense off the field, limiting their opportunities offensively by sustaining drives on your side. You can help flip the tide in this one. My second key to the game is start fast. You have got to get out fast in this one, establish the run, control the clock, get out fast in this one. I would say I would love to see UCF score on their first drive. Anything, right? Field goal, points on the first drive. I think points are going to come at a premium in this one. And if you start too slow, this is not a team, in my opinion, that's built to play from behind. They need to get out fast, and they need to hold on for dear life after the half. Cincinnati has been pretty good so far this year at halftime adjustments. The over-under at this one, the point total at 55.5. It opened at 56.5, so it's come down just a tiny bit. I don't know, man. I think that if you're UCF, to win this game, you're going to have to be in the high 20s, maybe 30-plus points if you expect to win this game. And when you look at the couple games that they've lost so far this year, what did you have? You had 2 20-point games that you failed to win. They've got to get north of 28 points in this one, and to do that, I think you got to start fast here offensively. Scott Frost has got to dial it up early. He's got to dial it up quick, and they've got to find the big play early.
Yeah, no, and it's funny that that's your second key to the game, because my second key to the game is maintain. I think the issue last week was we got out fast, we got out early, and we didn't maintain. You watch this team put up 20 points in the first half with not a single unsuccessful red zone appearance. 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals in the red zone, 20 points in the first half, and then you ended the second half and you still had 20 points. That's a huge problem. You need to be able to put up anything in the second half. If you had put up anything in the second half in that last game, you would have either gone to overtime or won that game. So my second key to the game is maintain. You have to be able to have stamina throughout this game. And that goes along with keeping your players fresh and swapping some guys out. I like the use of Chris Domercant last week. I like the use of Carl Jenkins. I like the switching out Marcus Burke and DJ Black. Hopefully Marcus Burke is feeling a little better. I know he took a small injury in that last game. So I'm just hoping that those guys can get switched out. That's my second key.
Yeah, hopefully we're not in a third game this season where a quarterback is getting hurt. It really is killing. Once Tayven Jackson went out, it's tough. As you mentioned, 20 first half points last week versus Kansas, not a single point in the second half. You score 1 touchdown, you possibly win that game. The margin, it was close. UCF had that one in their grasp, but could not maintain and ended up as an L, which was just unfortunate. Again, if the mark here, 20 points is not going to get it done in this one. So you've got to get out fast. You've got to take advantage of opportunities. And then when Cincinnati inevitably adjusts at the half, you need to adjust. So I would like to see them come out with some surprises and some tricks in the second half of this game versus Cincinnati if they're able to somehow go into the half with a lead. I don't think it's unheard of to think that they might actually have a lead at the half in this one. I know I picked Cincinnati in this one, but I'm not giving the Knights no shot to win this game. They're just going to have to play a really, really, really good game. Every week when we talk about keys to the game, someone says, "Oh, but win the turnover margin." I'm not going to hit you guys with that today, but I will say this. I think that Myles Montgomery is going to have to rush for about $130.
He's going to have to run for a lot.
Yeah, my key to the game is 100 on the ground for either Myles or Jaden. I don't care which one does it, but you need a guy there to help steady you offensively. Now we talked about the UCF injury report on yesterday's show. Just want to remind everybody who's questionable in this one. You got 2 quarterbacks on the list. Tayven and Jacurri, both questionable in this one. And Scott Frost saying earlier this week that these guys could be a game time decision. If Tayven is not available, you just put the load on the running backs, man. These guys are built for. Let them carry you home. And, the offensive line has been doing a lot better in run blocking than they have in pass pro anyway. Just lean on it and don't abandon it too early. Do not get desperate early. Stick to the script and lean on them. And eventually they just got to win some matchups, man. Those guys down there, much maligned offensive line, they lost their position coach this year. I get it. But they've got to show up for this team here. So my third key to the game is going to be the run game for UCF, man. They're going to need it. I think they're going to have to find big plays through the air, but the consistency that you're looking for, I think, is going to come with the run game in the second half.
Yeah, so I'm going to say my third key to the game is kind of in addition, but also on the contrary of that, which is give your playmakers a chance, whether that's on the ground or whether that's in the air. You need to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. I think one of the biggest issues that we saw was just not completing passes or not even be able to finish a play or not find a guy open, or if you hand somebody the ball, they get stopped at the 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage because there's no hole. You need to give your guys a shot. Guys like Myles, guys like Jaden, DT, and Marcus Burke, DJ Black, like all of these guys have unreal explosive potential. These guys are ready to go. They aren't going to not make a play if there's an opportunity for one. They will make that play. And something that's been very frustrating to watch over the years as a UCF fan, I'm sure many of you guys watching will understand, is years when we had Javon Baker, years when we had Kobe Hudson, it felt like you had the opportunity to throw up a 50-50 ball at any chance and either get a PI or bring the ball down. And a lot of the times when you watch those shot plays happen, whether it was a shot play or whether it was up the seam or whether it was just a back shoulder fade, a lot of those plays were successful in either drawing a penalty or completing the pass. You have a 6'4" target in Burke, and you have a huge target in DJ Black. You have a speedy target in Dwayne Thomas. You have a phenomenal route runner in Wade and Charles. I just don't see any reason why you aren't just trying to throw the football in the relative area of these guys. Would love to see that happen this game and all the games forward. Now, what we're hearing is, and this is not a confirmed fact, and, nobody quote me on this, but I don't think Tayven's going to roll out the number 1 in this game. Okay. I'm believing that it is going to be Cam Fancher. And if Fancher walks out there, you better believe he needs to be throwing the football.
Yeah, look, it's a second life maybe for Cam Fancher after getting hurt in game 1 here. He can maybe show why they chose him to win the starting job coming out of camp. Going to be a lot of fun to watch here. But look, on the other side of the ball, defense could be the key to this one for UCF. We'll talk about Alex Grinch's potential defensive strategy in this one next on Locked On UCF. This episode of Locked On UCF is brought to you by our friends at Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts faster for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. The parts finder tool and the 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. This episode of Locked On UCF is also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We love FanDuel here at Locked On UCF. Defensive strategy in this one, man. As I mentioned, I think they got to get after the quarterback. I think that blitz some more, right? You've got to be able to play solid coverage on the back end. UCF will be without one of their best defensive backs in this one. We went over this yesterday. Jaden Williams not going to play this weekend, but also on defense, Horace Lockett, a guy that you have been huge on, also out for this one. You've got to find big plays defensively, and to beat Cincinnati, you may even have to score. When you get those, you talk about those opportunities that they were unable to close on defensively. If you get a chance at a pick six, they've got to haul it in. I think Alex Grinch plays aggressively versus this one. Sell out, man. What do you have to lose? Nobody expects you to win this game. Play smart. but play aggressive and play fast defensively, I think UCF can maybe cause some headaches for old Mr. Sorsby.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Grinch typically plays a four-man offensive line. So just your typical inside defensive tackles and your outside edge guys blitzing the quarterback. Occasionally we have seen some shooters come out of a nice blitz package. Lewis Carter, for example, has gotten some really successful plays from there. Also, Braden Marshall has shot a couple times at the quarterback. Cole Kozlowski has gotten at the quarterback a couple of times. I would like to see those things happen a little more. You mentioned Jaden being out this game. It's another game without him. Something that I think Scott did really, really well in the transfer portal with is getting a good secondary. You got a lot of good secondary pieces: Philip Dunham, Jaden Bellamy, DJ Bell. The secondary is not who I am necessarily worried about. Yes, there were a couple busts last game against Kansas. Later in the game, obviously, when the defense felt like they were out there a lot. Which is why I think you need to, make sure that these guys are well rested. But in terms of defensive strategy, Grinch's offense is relatively simple to understand, but it provides flexibility for a lot of these players. And so with new guys that are going to be taking more snaps because of the guys that are out, especially on the D line, you got to hope that these guys come in and just put everything that they have into this game, because this is their time to shine. You're not really going to have a lot of time to make plays if you're a guy that's typically on a 3 deep or 4 deep. Now that both of your inside defensive tackles are hurt, this is a big time for you to step up and make some noise. So I think what you said is completely correct. Get after the quarterback. You got to force him to make some mistake to keep your offense in this game.
You look, they've been fairly balanced so far this year. 141 pass attempts against 156 rushes. So they aim to be balanced most games. But their leading rusher, I want to make sure I say this right, Tawee Walker.
Yeah.
Tawee Walker. Yeah, 56 carries for 313 yards, averaging 5.6 yards per carry and 3 touchdowns so far this season. As a team, 1,026 yards on the ground for Cincinnati. Look, I like the idea of stopping the run and forcing Sorsby to beat you with his arm. Now, like I said, he's been efficient at 65%, but not earth-shattering.
Yeah.
And so, what I mean, there are going to be some bad throws in there. If you're mid 60s, you're managing the game well, but you're not breaking any records. And at the end of the day, his best quality is that he protects the football. 12 touchdowns to 1 interception. Always, you'll take that any day of the week, man. By week 7.
Yeah, seriously, I think anytime that you're going to be able to contain a run and contain the quarterback, I think that's what you need here from your defense. Obviously, this guy's got a lot of talent, and you played some talented quarterbacks, a lot of guys that are considered more mobile than Sorsby. But this guy's probably got the best arm that you've played so far, and the most consistent arm that you've played so far. So it's just going to need to be an all-around defensive effort.
Yeah, definitely. Look, all this has to culminate in a prediction. It's that time of the week where we have to make our predictions on this one. Yes, James, we got to do it. So we'll talk about our predictions next on Locked On UCF. This episode of Locked On UCF is brought to you by our friends at Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than just simply move. They deliver confidence with every ride, and with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else since August of 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings that same intention to how they craft every single model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. Like UCF players sweat every detail, so does Mazda, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda move, and be moved. This episode of Locked On UCF is also brought to you by our friends at Quo, formerly Open Phone. One of the tools that helps make a huge difference for a business owner is Quo. It's the same great business phone system you've heard us talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. And you don't want to leave money on the table in today's economy. When every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying two phones and relying on a silly landline. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly Open Phone. Get started for free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That's Quo, QUO.com/lockedoncollege. And if you've got existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Predictions.
It's a tough time of the show.
This is the first week I will not pick UCF to win. And I went back and forth on this one. I do think I stand by what I say when I say I think they need to get north of 28 points to win this game. We did a crossover with the Locked On Cincinnati Bearcats channel earlier this week. I think UCF goes down in another heartbreaker here, 33-27.
That's pretty close to what I've got going.
Yeah, I think they find some more offense in this one, but this is tough, man. It's tough. I don't know that anything has happened the last 2 weeks that makes me feel confident that UCF is going to be gangbusters in this one, especially if no Tayven Jackson. And, you're maybe going back to Cam Fancher. A lot of question marks in this one headed into this game. It's a rebuild. This is a rebuild, and there are going to be some tough wins and some tough losses along the way. I think this is another one of those tough losses. It sucks because last week was the one you should have got.
Yeah.
Kansas was the one you should have got to not be sitting here potentially 0-3 in Big 12 play. But you didn't get it. And so it doesn't change the math for this game. If anything, well, what we saw in the injury report, I think it got worse for UCF. So I'm picking Cincinnati in this one. I don't want UCF fans to hear that we have abandoned the Knights, but like the analyst in me cannot let me pick the Knights in this one.
Yeah, Mike, God.
I know it hurts. It hurts.
It's so brutal. It's so brutal. Give me 31 points for Cincinnati. I think they break 30. And give me 34 for the UCF Knights.
What?
I'm doing it. Mike. Call me delusional. I do not care. I can't do it to my own team. I can't do it to my own fan base. This. You know what, Mike? You know how we always say sometimes you give one up at home that you shouldn't, and sometimes you win one on the road that you shouldn't.
I love it.
This is the one on the road. There's no reason. If you listen to any of my breakdown, quarterback evaluation, anything that happened with the injury report, there is zero reason we win this game. I think we win it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, listen, the law of Murphy's Law. I like it. I like that a lot, James. Look, man, so not everything has to make sense.
Not everything has to make sense.
If this were easy to predict, we'd all be millionaires betting on it. So I get it. It's tough, man. I still feel like this is a talented football team. Scott Frost just trying to figure out how to bring it all together for the Knights here. And look, man, maybe Cincinnati comes back to the field a little bit. Maybe they play back to the mean and they don't play their best game, and it leaves some opening for UCF to step in there and take advantage of what could be uncharacteristic mistakes. That's not something I can really predict, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like I said, I'm not giving them no chance to win this game, but this is the first week I'm not picking them. That's why I have you on, James. I need someone on the other side to say, you know what, Mike, Forget all that logic and stats and stuff, man.
And I'll take all the ridicule in the comments. I'll take all the ridicule in the comments. If you guys want to comment below, I will reply to you. And I promise you, you guys might be right. Listen, I sit here, I watch film, I break stuff down, I look at the injury report, I do all this analysis, but this is still UCF. This is still our team. So I got to give my guys some hope. I'm a fan that still believes, as much as I do try and be objective. I got to say that our guys go to Nippert and win it.
Yeah, look, I love it. So hopefully that's what we're talking about in the post game on Saturday is the big win for the UCF Knights over the Cincinnati Bearcats. Either way, we'll be here to talk about it. James, I want all the smoke. Duncan in the comments. Hit him up. Let him know what you think about his prediction that the Knights take this one this weekend. Let me know what you think about my prediction that they might not do that. Either way, we're going to be here to talk about it. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining the show today. And thank you guys for making Locked On UCF your first listen of every single day. I wanted to take the time, James, again, I said I would do this all week. As of October 7th, we have been doing Locked On UCF. I have been doing Locked On UCF for a year. Locked On UCF has been in
Congrats, by the way. Like, let's get some congratulations in the comments.
I have had a blast talking to and with this fan base. So I wanted to make sure that I took the time to say thank you to everyone who has turned us up and turned us on over the last year. We are crossing 1,200 subscribers. If you don't know what that means in the YouTube world, it's an incredible mark. Like, to be able to gain 1,000 subs at anything on YouTube is actually incredible. And we're not done. We're not even close to where we're going to be here by the end of the season, hoping that we're crossing 4,000 subscribers. So I appreciate every single listen. We are not entitled to your time. So the fact that you give us this time every single day, it means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to James and my senior writer over at UCFKnightzone.com, Andrew Gluchov. Thank you guys so much for making us your first listen of every day. We'll be back at you guys after the game on Locked On UCF.